So I recently binged a bunch of Hallmark romance movies. Hey there, I'm Kayla. Welcome back to my channel On the Fritz, where I talk about books in a hot mess fashion. And today I'm going to talk about Hallmark movies in a hot mess fashion. So I recently was in the mood to watch some Hallmark romances. I don't recall ever watching Hallmark romances before, but I have watched most of the romance movies on Netflix, like the Netflix originals, and oh my god, they're so good. So after a girls' weekend, I was in the mood and I seriously binged umpteen videos in like 2 days straight. That's all I did was watch Hallmark movie after Hallmark movie after Hallmark movie. So I'm going to talk about them and see which ones I recommend. I mean, I liked most of them, so. I will say there's a lot of these that are on Amazon Prime, but I got the 7-day free trial of the Hallmark movie channel thing. And I'll talk about that later after I kind of go through the movies. So I'm not sure if these are all the movies I watched. I'm pretty sure there were some Prime ones I watched before this, but I added a bunch to my watch list and I'm going off of that watch list right now. So the first one on the list is One Small Hitch. This is on Prime. This one is like a fake engagement romance. And this one actually like is a bit steamier, like it has like sex in it. So, and it's like a brother's best friend trope as well. So the girl got dumped and she's flying home, and on her way home she runs into her brother's best friend. I think they're going home for like a wedding or a funeral or something, I don't remember. But they decide to have a fake engagement because his father is dying from cancer. He only has like a few weeks to live. And he says that his dying wish is that he wishes that he could have met his wife. And he kind of tells him that I am engaged, and it's to the first person he can think of, and that's his best friend's little sister. It's really fun. Like I said, it's sexy. So the only thing I didn't like was the hero was hooking up with this girl while he was like falling in love with the heroine, and the heroine was falling in love with him. And there was a time where like he has slept with like both of the girls, and so that just kind of didn't make me love him so much. But the tropes are awesome. It was really fun, and I mean I do recommend it, but it's not one of my favorites. Next, I watched a Witchy One, and this one is You Cast a Spell on Me from 2015. It's on Prime, and so this one was really cute. I know Halloween had just passed, but maybe save it, I mean, if you're still in like a witchy mood, or maybe save it for your watch list next Halloween. But so there's a Halloween party. Our hero and heroine meet at the Halloween party, and they talk all night long. And the hero is a warlock, and the heroine is just a human. And the warlock is used to using his powers casually, and I think he's like trying to use his powers on her, not to like make her do anything, but just like, I don't know, casually. And she's like resistant to it, and so he's intrigued by her. And so anyways, they have their all night talk, and they leave and they go home. And it turns out that the hero, the warlock, like his powers are all like wonky, and they're not as strong as they used to be. There's like a storyline about like the witch community, and like they own a company, and his best friend is a warlock, but he doesn't have powers, and there's some other stuff there. But it turns out that the heroine is somehow like siphoning off his powers, because now she is able, like she'll say things and they'll happen. And so she kind of is taking his powers, and it's really cute. And so they finally figure this out, and so they're trying to find her because he doesn't know who she is. They don't have their contact information, and so he's trying to find her so that he can get his powers back. Really good, highly recommend. Okay, so this next one is one of my top favorites. It's a Christmas holiday romance, and this one's on the Hallmark. So it's called Hallmark Movies Now, and it's called The Spruces and the Pines, and this movie is from 2017, and it was so good. So it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet, where it's warring families, but like it's ends in HEA, like it's not a tragedy. But it's just like the warring families. So there's the Spruces and there's the Pines, and they live on neighboring farms, and they each have Christmas tree businesses. And so the daughter of the Pines and the nephew of the Spruces, I think, maybe backwards, they meet and hit it off, and then they find out who each other is, and interacting with the other Christmas tree farm is a big no-no, because the dad and then the uncle are like mortal enemies, and so it's finding out why they hate each other and how they can all get along, because the two love interests are falling in love and they want to make it work. And this one, I love this one so much, so I highly recommend this one for the upcoming holiday season. Okay, so the next one I watched is An Hour Behind, and this is from 2017, and this one was on the Hallmark Movie Now app, whatever. And so this one is a romance around daylight savings time, and this one was so cute as well. So it kind of felt more like springtime for me. So the heroine owns a bakery and the hero is a firefighter, and the heroine keeps getting set up on blind dates by her sister. And so she goes on a blind date, and it's on a Sunday, and it's on daylight savings, and she shows up late, and she just thinks she's like 15 minutes late, but she's like an hour and 15 minutes late. And she shows up to the brunch spot, and she's supposed to find a guy with a green shirt, and she sees a guy with a green shirt, and she sits down and she just starts talking, and she orders the food, and the guy is just kind of stunned, but then he kind of goes with it because some things that she says intrigues him. And they just go and they have this amazing date, and she's so happy because a lot of the past dates have just been duds. She's, workaholic, very devoted to her bakery, and she realizes like the next day when she's talking with her sister that the guy that she went on a date with wasn't the guy that she was supposed to meet on the blind date. And so she eventually does meet the blind date guy, and he's a lawyer, and he's like full of himself. But she kind of continues to date him because she's kind of pissed at the hero, the firefighter guy, because he didn't tell her who he really was. Like, he didn't correct her, he didn't lie, but he was, omitting the truth. And so he's trying to like win her affection, and it's just really cute. The only thing I just didn't like was the actress that's playing the heroine. She just had like resting bitch face, and she just seemed, even when like she was supposed to be happy on the dates and certain parts, like she was happy, but she still seemed kind of not into it. I don't know, like it pulled me out of it a little bit, but otherwise I loved this one. And yeah, really fun to watch. I recommend watching it in the springtime if you're someone who watches things seasonally. Okay, so next I watched Loving Leah, and this is from 2009. This is from the Hallmark app. And this one, let's see, it's between a Jewish, like a certain kind, like a really traditional Jewish girl, and she's married to a rabbi, and the rabbi dies, and like in their denomination of this religion, she's then supposed to be married to the brother. And so the brother meets her, and since it's like an old school tradition, like they have to go through a ritual to like for him to release her, and then she's free and he's free of their obligations. But like during the ritual, the rabbi or whoever's performing it is saying how like you have to forget that your brother ever existed, like no one will remember him, just things like that. And he had a very obscure, poor relationship with his brother anyways. They hadn't talked in 6 years. And so that he just did not feel comfortable doing that. So he pulled her aside and says, hey, let's just get married, or like let's just stay married. You can live with me, but like we can still live our separate lives. I have a girlfriend and she wants to go to college, and they were just gonna live together and then maybe get like a divorce later on, or something. And so she packs up and she moves to like DC or wherever he lives, and she lives with him. And like I said, he has a girlfriend, he's a doctor, and so like she's used to having a husband, and she's used to the traditional ways, and then like he's used to like bachelor life basically, and so they're trying to match each other. So this one was more like serious, even though it's still like it's probably more of like a drama romance. Still ends in HEA, but it was really captivating, and yeah, I recommend this one. Next I watched Hitch for the holidays, and this one's from 2012, and this one was on the Hallmark Movies Now subscription. This one has familiar faces. This one has Joey Lawrence and the gal from Schitt's Creek. I was really excited to watch this. This one's a fake relationship trope on both ends. They meet on like this app or like Craigslist or something like that, and they're basically each other's boyfriend or fiance for the holidays to get their families off their back so that they're not questioned and pressured and etc. That's the heroine's side. And then so the hero, she's pretending to be his girlfriend or fiance because his grandma is in the hospital and she only has a few more weeks to live, and like her dying wish is to meet the girl that he was gonna marry. He's Catholic and she's Jewish, and so it's during the holidays, so it's during Christmas and it's during New Year's, and so there's lots of traditions, lots of parties, church services, and so it's really fun. It's like family dynamics, and they go to a lot of parties and they slowly fall in love, and it's not fake anymore. This one was really good. Again, it's holiday and it's perfect for the holiday season coming up. Next, I watched A Feeling of Home. This one is from 2019, and this one was on the subscription. I wanted to love this one more. I really like the hero. I like the actor. Very attractive. So this one is, this girl has a blog series where she does like cooking and DIYs or whatever, but it's about like New England, and she's actually from Texas, and she goes home to Texas to see her dad. I think her dad's not doing so well. I don't remember why she goes home. But while she's away, like she's supposed to like film things for her blog because her blog is being optioned to be picked up by, I don't know, like a TV series, I don't know, picked up by somebody. But she goes back home, and it's like a second chance romance because her high school fling works for her dad, and so it's basically her interacting with her high school boyfriend, and yeah, and then like her kind of falling in love with Texas again, because like her parents are divorced, and she kind of does the New England thing because her mom was originally from New England, but she was born and raised in Texas, and so it's her like becoming a Texas girl again and falling in love with her high school boyfriend again. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to love it more. It's not unwatchable. I don't not recommend it, but it was just okay. Okay, so this one I think is my least favorite one that I watched, and it's Home for the Harvest. This one's from 2020, so this is a new one, and this one is on Prime. Yeah, this one, again, I wanted to like this one more. The acting in this one was really bad. Now, the acting traditionally for these kind of movies isn't top shelf, but this was like really, really bad. It doesn't say where they're at. A lot of the actors have really thick Canadian accents, and then like it was to the point where like the vibe of the town I was getting was that it was a southern town, but the hero had a thick Canadian accent, so I looked him up and he is Canadian. And the heroine, she would slip up on her accent every once in a while. So like I said, I don't think it says where they're from, or if it does, I don't know if it's like a made-up town, but I think this is a Canadian one because everyone has like really thick Canadian accents. Anyways, the heroine comes home, and she left her hometown like right after college or high school, and she's never been back. Her mom was sick. She never came home. She's like a big city girl now, and she works for a magazine, and she travels and she writes stories about her travels and the places she goes. Well, her editors hear about this harvest festival. It's at this small town, and it's her small town, and so they want her to go back to her small town for this harvest festival and do a story about it, and kind of like, you know, it's a more personal piece about her and her hometown and where she's from. So she goes back home to her small town, and like her sister's kind of peeved at her because she hasn't seen her in forever, and so are other people in the town. But the small town, like there's some like kind of cute little like boutique-y restaurants and stores that are popping up that, you know, she's excited about. And so her high school boyfriend is there, and they had a big falling out, and he was one of the reasons why she left. And he's also like a journalist. And so he's trying to like rekindle the flame, and you kind of think that it's gonna be those two, even though he's really douchey. But her love interest is the chef at one of the farm to table restaurants in town, new restaurant in town. And of course, like the hero and her ex-boyfriend don't like each other, and yeah, that's about it. It's really, this one's, I don't recommend it. Like, it's so cheesy. It wasn't horrible, but this one was definitely the worst one of the bunch. This one wasn't good either. I forgot about this one. I didn't finish this one. This one was so bad I didn't finish it. This one's Home Sweet Home, 2020. This one's on Prime. So this is like a girly girl who she's a barista, and this cute guy comes in, and she finds out that he's working with a church, and they're building houses for people in town. And she decides to help because she finds him attractive. And it's basically just like her showing up to build houses in like her heels and stuff. And she has to learn how to build houses and not be pretty. And he falls in love with her somehow. Like it was more of like a self-discovery one, and then like her becoming friends with one of the girls there and like helping her find a romance. But this one was so bad. Like, it was just bad acting, bad storyline, and I didn't even finish it, so do not recommend. Oh, this one's so good. Next I watched August Creek. This one's on the subscription, and it's from 2017. So this one's a more kind of a serious one. It's more of like a drama romance, and it's a girl who comes back home for a wedding. Her sister's getting married, and she hasn't been home since her husband died. So her husband was like, they were high school sweethearts, and then he was in the military and he died overseas, and it's been like 3 years or longer, and she hasn't been home. She like sold their house and she moved away, and she started a new life in Chicago. And she's coming to her sister's wedding, and she has a new boyfriend. And her love interest is her husband's best friend. And so, you know, there's that late husband best friend thing, and then she also has a boyfriend, a serious boyfriend. And then there's the plot line of like her sister getting married. Her sister is kind of like this hippie chill girl, and then her fiance is like stressing, and he's kind of being the bridezilla, and it's kind of like a little bit about their thing too. So this one was really good. It was very kind of like heart-wrenching. Like I said, it was more serious, but this one was just coming back home, wedding season, so nothing seasonal, but still really good and highly recommend. Oh, now what? This one's good too. This one's In My Dreams. This one was on the subscription, and it's from 2014. So this one, the hero and heroine are at the park at the same time, and they make a wish at this fountain. And ever since then, they're having these very vivid dreams, and it's just they're in each other's dreams, and they're kind of like having these dates, like they're interacting with each other, and they basically fall in love in their dreams, and they're not sure if each other's real or not. But she runs her family's like Italian, like a small Italian restaurant. And he's a Ted Mosby. He designs bridges. And this one was really cool. Just like has like that little fantastical element of them meeting in their dreams, and basically being their dream person. And they find out that there's like this legend that if you make a wish at this fountain, you'll dream of your one true love for 7 days. And then after that, then it's over or whatever. So like they're trying to like find each other. And it's really good. Highly recommend. Okay, this one, so this one's The Outsider. This is on the subscription, and this one's, I think it's old. It's from 2002. Wow, this one's really old. So this one is like, it's based off a romance novel, because after I watched it, I was like, wow, is this from a book? And it's from like an old school romance book, but this one, like, how long is it? So this one's a little bit longer, and it feels like more of a Western movie than like a Hallmark romance. But this is an Amish romance, and it was so good. So the heroine is an Amish gal, and she's a widow, and she has a young son, and it's like nearing the time of when she is expected to remarry and move on, you know, remarry, yada yada yada. And then this guy he wanders on like up close to her property, and he passes out, and he's like dying. So she brings him into her house. They get the doctor, and they heal him, and she decides to keep him in his house to, you know, nurse him back to health. And then once he is better, she hires him to help work on her farm, because she is a widow and she's by herself. Even though they're kind of in a community, but they're still far apart, and this is like wagon wheels days. So she hires him on, and they fall in love, and he's like this wanted man. He's like a gunslinger, so he's not like a bad guy, but he's still wanted for killing people. And so there's these outlaws that live in the area too, that are trying to like steal the farm from her, and then they're trying to take the hero in for a reward. So yeah, it's like a lot of action. There's the angst with her being Amish and a widow, and having this man stay in her house, and he's an outsider. He's not part of the religion, and yeah, this one was really good. So after that, I watched The Magic of Ordinary Days on the subscription, and this one is from 2005. This one was really good too. So this one, I don't know the year, but this one's kind of set in like maybe the 50s. And the heroine is pregnant, and her father is forcing her to marry someone out of wedlock, but not the baby daddy. The baby daddy, okay, so the baby daddy is away at war and he's like not in the picture. And so I think her dad is a pastor, or they go to the pastor and they find her a husband. And so she rides the train and she goes and gets married in this, not even a ceremony. And she moves in with him to make it seem like it's his baby. And he lives on this farm, and she's a city girl, and she was in grad school. Again, this is like the 50s, so that's a big deal. And she was going to school to be an anthropologist. And so like living this mundane life on the farm is like shocking to her. And he's just a simple farm guy. He's very quiet. He just wants to do the right thing. He's very excited about the baby. He's so sweet. Big cinnamon roll. And it's their love story of slowly falling in love and, turning their marriage of convenience into a true marriage. And in the beginning, like, she's writing letters to the baby daddy. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't know how to cook, and she's expected to cook and clean. And this one's really good. It's very more serious too. It's not, it ends in HEA, but it's not like sugary sweet like other Hallmark movies, but it's still really good and fun if you like historicals. Okay, so I think those are all the movies that I watched. I'm trying to think. Those are all the ones that are on my watch list. I didn't purchase the subscription because I felt like I had watched all the movies that I wanted to watch on that subscription. Like I said, a lot of these were both on the subscription service and just on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime and you want to watch some of these, maybe try to get a free trial. But a lot of them are on Prime. So, and like there's so many movies that I wanted to watch, Hallmark movies, that weren't on the subscription. I'll quickly list some movies I still have on my watch list that I haven't watched yet. I have Love's Last Resort, but this one's on Prime. This one's from 2017, and it's kind of like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where a girl goes to a resort and her ex-boyfriend is getting married there. I have Perfect Match on here. That's from the subscription. I tried watching it, but like this one and a few others, like and it's like a newer movie, 2017, and it was like stretched, and like it was so annoying I could not watch it. So I have Perfect Match on my list, and this one's about two wedding planners. I have Like Cats and Dogs from 2017. Two renters must share a beach house, and I think, yeah, one likes cats and one's a dog person. I have Autumn Stables. This one's about a widow who sells her farm to the hero. Betting on the Bride. This one's Prime, 2017. A womanizer bets that he can get someone to accept his marriage proposal after dating for 30 days. So, The Makeover, 2013. A Harvard-educated professor attempts to turn blue-collar beer vendor into a candidate for Congress. Okay. Undercover Bridesmaid, 2012. A girl left at the altar poses as a bridesmaid for a woman who's been receiving death threats. Okay. Sense and Sensibility, 2011. This is like a remake of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. Two sisters must balance life and love after their father's fortune is taken away. Away and Back, 2015. Widowed father of three encounters the heroine, a biologist.
2 hours later.
Okay, sometime later, I have one that I forgot to talk about, and this one is another Amish romance, and it's called Love Finds You in Charm. This is from the subscription service, and it's from 2015. And this one was pretty good. Like, so we have our Amish girl, and she's very intrigued and interested in, outside her community. So she'll sneak off and she'll read magazines, and she'll stare off at like trains and airplanes, and her family knows that she has a wandering eye, and so they have her go and work with her cousin who runs like a little farm and like a farmer's market type thing to help her out. So she goes and stays with her, and she helps her, and she sells her like homemade goat cheese, and she helps run the market. And so they interact with people from like our society, like outside of their religion in their community. And like it was like a way to kind of help her decide without being thrust into regular society. And so yeah, she's just very curious, and she meets this guy who is like this lumberjack of an Amish man, and he also is very curious, and I think he kind of went through the same thing she did as a little background, but yet he knew that his place was with his family and his religion. But like she likes to read like Jane Austen books, and so he got her a new book, and he's just obviously like the best hero ever. But she was still like very, she's very undecided still. Like she's like, they're just kind of friends. And her cheese gets her noticed by this like city guy who I think he works for a magazine, and he wants to take her out to dinner, and he's just, just an average city guy. And then he kind of gets turned into like a villain because like he wants to drive her to a spot and like mess around, even though he knows she's Amish. And I don't know, because at first I thought it was gonna be more of a realistic love triangle, or like, kind of like the two guys represent like two different parts, like two different societies, plus the guys themselves. But the story kind of villainized him and then turned villainized regular society, and so she just like ran into the arms of the lumberjack Amish guy, which we love, and it's whatever, but it scared, a little bit after school special with, scaring the Amish kids about certain things, but otherwise it was pretty good. So I may not like Amish romance books, but I'll take it in a 90-minute romance movie for sure. So okay, so another one I have on my to watch list is The Russell Girl. This is a Hallmark subscription movie. It's from 2008. Girl next door moves to Chicago, running away from a tragedy from her past, and then she has to return back home. So this one seems a bit more dramatic, but coming back to your small town. Time After Time, 2011, Hallmark. Journalist returns home, high school sweetheart. Ready to leave again, he is met by a mysterious man that claims to be his future self, who has traveled back in time. Oh, so this one is that trope, but with a time travel element. Interesting. And the last one I have on my watch list is The Locket from 2002, oldie, it's a Hallmark. After his mother dies, a college dropout befriends a patient at a healthcare center who gives him support and guidance. So yeah, I know that there are some new movies on Netflix I haven't gotten to, but please let me know down below any must-watch movies I need to watch, whether it's Netflix, on Amazon Prime, or if they're Hallmarks. I know there are some newer ones that were catching my eye, but I wasn't able to find them on the subscription service. So let me know some of your must-watch down below. I also have my social media information down below if you want to be friends on other places. Consider subscribing if you like me and my content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!